Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to the nominees. Thank you for being here. Mr. Chief, if I could just start with you. I just want to clarify something that you said to Senator Baldwin a moment or two ago. She asked you about OCR investigations into alleged cases of discrimination on the basis of gender identity under Title IX. And you said, I think, I'm looking at our quick transcript of your remarks. I was sitting here. I just want to make sure I heard it correctly. You said that the OCR, Department of Ed OCR, would investigate alleged cases of gender identity discrimination? Why is that?
Hey there, fellow patriots. Welcome back to the channel where we stand for freedom, truth, and the Constitution every single day. If you're tired of the radical left trying to rewrite reality, if you're sick of seeing our kids, our values, and yes, our women's rights under attack, then make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that Liberty bell so you never miss another update. Today, I'm reacting to a Senate hearing you probably didn't see blasted all over the mainstream media. It features a powerful exchange between a conservative senator and a nominee, someone who might just take the reins at the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights.
Thank you for the question, Senator, and for the opportunity to have a detailed discussion about it. So in 2017, OCR clarified that transgender students, that students who bring allegations forth based on sexual orientation and gender identity were protected from harassment under Title IX. Sex stereotyping, a very narrow set of cases applied to protect students on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. That was back in 2017. Following the Bostock case, OCR had to step back and determine how Bostock applied to Title IX cases. There are a lot of reasons it didn't apply, and I can walk through those because they're significant. But what OCR finally determined is that because of the holding in Bostock, that Bostock could inform OCR's evaluation of complaints that allege discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation identity to determine if they involve biological sex, which is consistent with the Bostock opinion. So what we held is that Bostock could inform a limited sect of OCR cases pertaining to different treatment, pertaining to harassment, pertaining to bullying, but we drew a hard line at universally accepting Bostock to apply to all Title IX cases. What we said is that because the Supreme Court said that biological sex was not relevant in the termination of those employees in Bostock, that we would also look at the relevance of sex in our cases. And what we determined is that sex is relevant in certain instances. Sex is relevant with regard to restrooms. Sex is relevant with regard to locker rooms. And sex is relevant with regard to athletic teams. So it was a very nuanced approach.
But sex is not gender identity. And the Bostock decision is Title VII. The Supreme Court specifically reserved the question of whether or not it applied to Title IX. Justice Gorsuch is very clear on this. Now, the Biden administration didn't heed that warning at all, as you know.
Yes, sir.
They subsequently issued guidance that attempted to rewrite Title IX completely.
Yes.
That guidance has been enjoined nationally by courts because it is utterly inconsistent with the text of Title IX. Indeed, as you know, it completely upends it. It reads Title IX to say that women's sports cease to exist, that a biological man, if he wants to be in a woman's sport, go for it. In a woman's locker room, fine. It's so outrageous that I think almost every court that has considered it has enjoined it.
I agree.
So, okay, I just want to be sure that you're not going to follow the Biden administration's interpretation of Title IX, surely.
No, sir. The Biden administration universally accepted Bostock and arguably exceeded, right? Went even further, I think.
Not arguably.
Than the Bostock opinion. That is not what we did under President Trump's first term, and that is not what we will do under President Trump's second term.
Good. Okay. I want to be crystal clear on this. That I think it's a very dangerous thing to start allowing this into Title IX, which is, it is a landmark statute. It is vitally important, and it has been under attack for 4 very long years, where we have seen women's sports, women's leadership opportunities, women's safety eliminated in many cases. And now, of course, one of the challenges you're going to face is you've got a host of colleges and universities who are openly defying, not just this administration, they're defying court orders. I hear a lot of talk from my friends over here on this side of the dais about the need to follow court orders. We've got a whole bunch of colleges and administrations that are defying court orders and saying, oh, we don't care. We're going to have biological men in women's sports no matter what. We're going to have biological men in women's locker rooms no matter what. surely you're going to go after that, are you not, and protect the women on campus?
Yes, sir. The current leadership within OCR and Secretary McMahon, as you know, is prioritizing these cases, and that will not stop under my leadership if I'm fortunate enough to assume this role.
Good. And I want to be on the record to back to your regulations both in 2017 and 2020. I think you might want to rethink those. I mean, in light of subsequent jurisprudence and in light, frankly, of subsequent experience, I think you want to take a really hard look at how you're interpreting gender identity and the interface. We've had there's some water under the bridge now, and the interface with biological sex and just how that's being used to undermine the rights of it's never the rights of men, it's always the rights of women, 100% of the time. And I think we've got to be very careful about that.
Thank
My time has expired, and the chairman, I'm such a good citizen, I never go over. So I'll just submit some questions for the record for you, Dr. Schwinn, and others. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, why does that matter? Because it's about Title IX, the landmark civil rights law that was written to protect women in education, in sports, in leadership. A law that's now being turned on its head by leftist ideologues who want to erase the biological distinctions between men and women. So, let's get into the meat of what happened. The senator starts off by asking a very simple, very important question. Will the nominee commit to not following Biden's radical reinterpretation of Title IX? And guess what? The answer was yes. Now, let me be clear, patriots. This is huge. For the past 4 years, we've watched the Biden administration bulldoze over common sense biology and basic fairness. They've tried to claim that Title IX, written in 1972 to give women a fair shot, is now supposed to include gender identity. That means that biological men, yes, men can compete in women's sports, share locker rooms, and take away scholarships meant for our daughters. And they tried to enforce this insanity through guidance from the Department of Education. But here's the kicker. Federal courts struck it down. Multiple judges across this country said this is not what Title IX means. But what did the Biden administration do? They ignored the rulings. They kept pushing. They encouraged universities to do the same. Folks, when you start ignoring court orders, you are flirting with tyranny. Let me ask you something. Do you think it's fair for your daughter to work her tail off in the gym every day, only to lose her spot on the team to a male athlete who identifies as a girl? Because that's what's happening across America, and not in theory, but in real life. We've heard the heartbreaking stories. Girls forced to share locker rooms with biological males. Female athletes missing out on medals. College scholarships going to trans-identifying males. This is not equality. This is not justice. This is an assault on women's rights, ironically, in the name of progress. Now, the nominee in this hearing, he made it clear. Under his leadership, the OCR will draw a hard line. He said biological sex is relevant. Yes, IT is. When it comes to bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams, we cannot pretend biology doesn't matter. It's not hate to recognize reality, it's common sense. And here's the best part. He said flat out that the Trump administration never bought into this ideological madness. And if Trump returns in 2025, they won't be adopting it either. That's how you protect women. That's how you preserve truth. That's how you uphold the law. Let me remind you what's at stake. This isn't just about politics. This is about the very foundation of Western civilization, objective truth, the rule of law, and equal rights. Title IX was passed so that women wouldn't be second-class citizens in education. And yet today, under the banner of inclusion, we're watching women's achievements get erased. And who's paying the price? Not the elites, not the activists. It's the everyday girls, the daughters of working-class Americans, who are being told to sit down and shut up if they dare question the new orthodoxy. So here's what we need to do. We need to fight back. We need to stand with senators and nominees who are defending real women, real fairness, and real science. We need to pressure schools and universities to follow the law, not radical ideology. And most importantly, we need to vote like our country depends on it. Because it does. This is a cultural fight, folks. And like every other battle in history, it's going to require courage, truth, and grit. But I believe in America. I believe in our Constitution. And I believe that we the Patriots are waking up. Thank you for watching, and thank you for standing with truth. Drop your comments below. Let me know what you think about Title IX, gender identity policies, and how we can take back our schools. Smash that like button if you're with me. Share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth. And as always, God bless you, God bless our daughters, and God bless the United States of America.